What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to Blazers Uprise Live. Today, let me get my mic over here. What is my setup? I got my controller wrapped around this. All right, I was not ready to go. Either way, today we're going to talk about Dame's injury. Huge sigh of relief on that one. He will miss Game 5, but I'm okay bowing out with this season as long as we still have some hope next year. And if that was what I was afraid of it being, which was a torn ACL, we'd have no hope next year. So, you know, you don't want to see Dame have a sprained knee, but that was kind of the best case scenario given just how it looked. So I am very, very relieved. And the Blazers will try and get it done tomorrow without Dame Lillard. We'll see how CJ McCollum can do when he's the main guy in the playoffs. Probably have to deal with that trapping defense. That might not go too well, but we'll see. It'll be interesting. You know, Gary Trent Jr. will probably get the start. You'll see probably a lot. Anthony Simons. We'll kind of preview that in a little bit. We're also going to talk about good old Twitter because, you know, this is what we do. Twitter is just ablaze, and it's been ablaze lately. So we're going to talk about good old Twitter, good old social media. Just a kind of a typical stream. Anything else we should talk about on the stream, Eric? What else should we talk about tonight? Eric is on vacation. We got
just chilling.
Hotel Eric. He upgraded from Garage Eric to Hotel Eric. So he is in a hotel just chilling. I am very jealous. I am where I am always at. So
I can't be ranting Eric tonight though. Eric be ranting will not appear.
Chill Eric. Yep. He's not trying to wake up the whole entire hotel, so we'll take questions from chat. We'll tune in with chat for a bit. We're just kind of chilling on this stream.
I don't like to be this guy, but I did correctly play doctor last night.
Oh, did you? I don't even remember.
I said it didn't look like an ACL to me. It looked like a sprain of. I don't think they've said exactly what ligament he sprained or whatever, but I thought it was going to be a sprain. I was more hopeful, wishful thinking, but.
Well,
yeah.
Congrats to Dr. Brandt for being such a genius that he called it right.
One time.
You almost jinxed it into being something worse. That would have been tragic. But, yeah, so anyway, in chat, say I if you've been blocked by Dan Meringue in the last 24 hours. I. Probably half of us. Oh, man, we're going to have to get to that. We don't really have a whole lot planned.
Trevin,
I don't know how you're still surviving out there, man.
For some reason, he thinks he could pick on Trevin, but, like, he won't respond to anyone else. It's like, Chad, why is Chad picking on poor Tommy? Like,
I don't know.
Tommy's one of the nicest guys on this channel, and he's, like, all up in his business all the time. Like,
I don't know.
What the heck? Just leave Tommy alone, Chad. Gosh.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness, bro. Dude, I swear, the media guys are getting more and more sensitive. I don't know how that works, but, I don't know, man. Me and you got blocked for nothing. I don't know what I got blocked for. You didn't even say anything. We got blocked. I think it was for liking a tweet. I don't know. Dan Meringue has just been going off lately.
He flat out lied about it, too.
Yeah. So we had Dan Meringue put words in our mouth as if, God, I don't even know I don't even remember what he said, but basically he lied about us saying something. Let me find it. I don't know where it is. I'm not going to search for it. But yeah, I don't know. Twitter's been ablaze lately. Hopefully you guys are entertained as always.
Where'd it go? Okay.
Nas, you called him insecure.
So he said, I would have loved real answers as opposed to you're just sucking him off and you just don't understand what's going on the hardwood. Laughing my ass off. If there was any actual substance, I'd be all ears, but it's empty rhetoric. I welcome someone doing the work and backing it up. The guy would, like, we could do a full breakdown every single time we have a discussion with him, and he'll just ignore our tweets every single time. Like, because he doesn't want to get in an actual basketball conversation. But then, like...
He pretends like he does.
I didn't even say anything to him last night.
Yeah.
I didn't say that. He's flat out lying there. We didn't say you're sucking him off or anything about... Like, I didn't even say anything.
I didn't say he has no knowledge about the hardwood or whatever he said.
Right, yeah.
I'm like, I don't know where he got those quotes from. See, that's the thing, man. It's just weak, bro. That's something you don't do just in general in life. Like, I get their media, they're above it. They can do whatever they want. But, like, you don't make up quotes that somebody said about you and then post them to try and bring somebody down. Like, it's just fake, Because I constantly reply to his tweets. I would love to have a basketball conversation, too, right?
Yeah.
Then why is it so hard to have a basketball conversation with him? Because he'll post stuff, talking trash about anybody who has any criticism for Stotts as if they have no idea what they're talking about, as if they're dumb, and then I'll come out with a good tweet kind of explaining what I think. No reply. But then when he kind of gets called out on it, he's like, oh, I would love to have a basketball conversation, but, it's just empty rhetoric. Nobody backs anything up. It's just a bunch of BS. It's a bunch of lies. It's a bunch of fake stuff. So I don't respect that, man. I don't respect people that are being fake. Like me and Danny Moran have a history. He got his start from posting on the forum that me and Eric met off of, right? He was posting stuff on there, and then Blazers Edge somehow noticed that within like 10 posts of Dan Meringues and brought him over there, and then he got on TV somehow, and then he got the post-game show somehow. Like, it's just kind of crazy, that evolution. Like, we have a history, you know what I mean? But I don't know, like, I don't hold anything in the past against him, and he's told me he doesn't hold anything in the past against me, so I don't understand what the issue is with him. Like, to me, it just seems like he doesn't like people that are critical of Stotts, and that's the way a lot of media are. It's like, I can respect that people like Stotts if they aren't disrespectful to me and they don't try and call me out, and if they do publicly disagree with me, I respect the people that can back it up, and I will have a legitimate basketball conversation with people. The thing is, most of the time, the people that are backing up Stotts they're guys that talk about, oh, well, this roster doesn't look good enough on paper, or, oh, look at we made the Western Conference Finals last year. Just a bunch of, like, generic, broad narratives. This team wouldn't do any better with anyone else. Like, just generic stuff that nobody can prove or disprove, so it's not even a debate. It's just completely subjective, and they won't reply, just like Danny Meringue won't. They won't reply to anything we bring up in terms of what is actually going down on the hardwood, right? But then Dan Meringue tweeted out, today or last night, that... What was it that he said?
Well, real quick, before we get to that. Mm-hmm. So this is the same guy who at the beginning of the season called us both flat earthers because it's crazy to not like Stotts.
Yep.
So we weren't even talking to him, and he called us out. Like, that's the BS type of people who...
It's just punk stuff.
And now he blocks us because we're saying stuff to him when we didn't even say anything. And yeah, like, people are tagging us and stuff when these, like, obvious people who are just talking about surface level stuff once again and not actually breaking down the game of basketball. So we get tagged in it because we're actually out here doing that kind of stuff and showing why we know that Stotts is not a good coach. But, like, then he has the nerve to say, like, we're the ones starting crap. We've never said anything to Dan Meringue until he blocked us last night, and we went off on him on the post-game show, but, like...
And then he makes up stuff that we said in quotes, and, you know what I mean? It's just a bunch of fake stuff, man. Like, he's the one who called us out at the start of the season, as you said. Like, we've been far more respectful to him throughout the season than he has been to us. So, it's not even necessarily direct shots, but, like, we're critical of Stotts, and anybody who says... oh, the people who are critical of Stotts are dumb idiots. Like, that's an insult to me because I'm critical of Stotts. I don't just love Terry Stotts and think he's some amazing coach. Like, that's the problem I have.
So this was his tweet earlier, and this got me totally triggered. So he said, "This is why I don't take folks seriously. The idea that Portland is only doing these things is hilariously bad. Each player has sets drawn for them on top of the built-in motion offense. Portland's playbook is incredibly deep. However, they've limited certain sets based on personnel." And then, like, he went on to say, like, let me find his other tweets.
Which, let me just say, that's a dog. The playbook is limited based off the personnel. We should not have it this limited. We had 4 months to prepare for the restart. That does not excuse what we're running. Like, we've all been watching the same offense. I've been breaking it down. I was breaking down footage last year. Like, spending 8 hours breaking down footage from throughout an entire game last year. I'm just missing these things when I'm actually somebody who's actually ran sets because I actually played basketball before, which pretty sure he hasn't. You know what I mean? Not saying he can't know what he's talking about because he hasn't played, but it's just like people like that talk down on us, it's just comical.
He might have deleted or reset his tweet, but basically, he had a tweet earlier that was like, the offense is super complex and you don't understand it if you're saying it's stagnant or there's not a lot of complexity to it. Like, you just don't like understand the nuances of it or something like that. And that just like totally triggered me. Like oh, because this is the kind of BS answers we get from Blazers media. Because here's the thing: if you like Stotts and you like Dan Marang, you're going to be like, oh yeah, he's right. Yeah, it's really complex. Stotts is a genius, right? Mm-hmm. But he didn't actually say why it was. He hasn't given you any reasoning behind it. It's just a comment from him, and everyone's going to eat it up that like Stotts because they agree with him and want to listen to that kind of stuff, which is fine. That's fine. Like, just don't call us out or block us or, like, say we're bad because we are actually breaking it down and showing why that's not correct.
You know what's funny about that comment, though, is that he literally just said, oh, I get tired of empty rhetoric without anything to back it up. But that's exactly what that is.
Empty rhetoric, yep. And he's built his whole audience on it because he doesn't have any substance to anything he says. Everything today was personnel, injuries, blah, blah, blah. Stotts gets the most out of his players, but without giving any actual X's and O's examples of why that happens or what he's doing to improve these players. He's just saying that players are like better with him or whatever. It's like no substance to anything he's saying.
Yep.
It's just total BS, man. And then to call us out for not having substance and like to have empty rhetoric, like that's just completely stupid. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, you've gone out of your way to like say that like Blazers Outsiders isn't for you, but like you understand it and stuff like that. But like,
yeah, I understand the market.
Like,
I understand people that.
Yeah.
I've said this, like, I understand why people would like that more than what we do. Like, I totally understand that. You know what I mean? I guarantee you Dan Marang wouldn't ever say, oh, I understand why somebody would like your post-game show more than mine. Like, he couldn't bring himself to say that, right? Because he doesn't respect us, you know what I mean? Like, has no respect for us whatsoever, and he's proven that time and time again. You know, but I understand why somebody would like that post-game show more, because, like, we go in depth. That's kind of our niche. We break things down in depth. We pull out clipboards. We started to show footage because there are kind of little ways around the YouTube copyright system and all that. So we've started to show footage examples. I've started posting Twitter videos, and you know, we're kind of building on that. But that's what we do. We break things down in depth. Eric watches the game, takes notes. I'm not doing it this year, but last year multiple games I broke down full games and edited footage and that type of stuff. So like, that's what I did even before I started this channel. That's why I did a True Blazer Fan, and that's what we do here, right? And his post-game show is more geared towards the casual fan. You know, they don't really care about like, oh, what is this complex set and how did it produce this shot? You know, it's more like people that like want to relax after a game and that are entertained by like, oh, look at this tic-tac-toe game, like that type of stuff. Look at this halftime entertainment. I get why people would be more into that. You know, it's just two different types of fans. There's different types of fans of the team. So I understand why people would like his show more than ours, but it's for the reason that, you know, it's more light and more casual, which, you know, is a mainstream network. I understand why they would want to appeal to a more casual fan than a more like diehard, like in-depth fan that wants hard-hitting, hardcore analysis. But that's why it's funny that he tries to call us out as not understanding things and not being, you know, willing to break things down in depth and just full of empty rhetoric. And then we'll tweet on his tweets, you know, some very good examples, some very good reasoning, and then he ignores it, and then he pretends like, nobody ever gives him any good replacements or nobody ever gives them any good examples, and it's just empty rhetoric, and it's just like stupid stuff, flat earth, you know, just that type of stuff. It's just disrespectful, man. It's toxic. It's childish. Like, I don't understand it.
Yep. And so Kevin Reese is saying knowledgeable NBA people such as Zach Lowe, Danny LaRoe, and Nate Duncan, I respect their opinions, say they blame Neil for the roster Stotts has. And so totally fine. If you want to blame personnel and Olshey for the roster, totally fine, right? Like, that's your opinion. I get it. But I am still waiting for an answer to this question. If you have one of the worst defenses in the league, why do you continue to run the same defense? If it's strictly a personnel thing, wouldn't you at least try something different to match your personnel, right? Against now 3 straight playoffs, we're going to lose a series because we do not have an answer when they take away our pick and roll or they trap Dame to, like, we don't have any other offense. We just stand around. There's no movement. Despite what people are saying, like Danny, about the complexity of the offense, it's not complex at all. It's like the most basic, simplistic offense ever, and it's an elite defense is going to stop it in the playoffs every time. So if you don't have the personnel and you don't have the coaching, like that, like it's impossible to know if it's the personnel. Like, I want someone to tell me why Stotts can just say, or people can just say it's the personnel when they don't even know what this personnel can do. Like, they don't know. Like, Wenyen Gabriel hasn't gotten a fair chance to play anything. Like, Little didn't get a fair chance. Those guys are decent defenders that could have actually made a difference in our defensive schemes and done some stuff this year. And we had them on our roster. I mean, not Gabriel the whole year, but like there's different things he could have tried. Like, it's not like Nick Nurse, like, I mean, I hate to keep bringing up him, but he had a game where he had, like, his top 6 players were all out, and there was a bunch of scrub players that you've never heard of, and they beat a good team this year because he had, like, some, like, weird defensive trap full court thing that he deployed.
Let me just interject into, like, the Raptors example, though. If he had Wenyen Gabriel and they plugged Wenyen Gabriel into the lineup, that wouldn't change the way he runs his offense. But here in Rip City, just because Wenyen Gabriel's on the court, people act like, oh, well, you can't run, you know, what they really want to run just because of personnel. But, like, he can set screens, he can cut, he can move off the ball, he's a lob threat, he's a dump-off threat. He's shown, like, he hit a 3 in one of the games. We don't know that he's a bad shooter, per se. Like, he has decent form. We've seen him hit a couple threes. Like, there's no reason why you can't run a good offense just because you have Wenyen Gabriel in the game. That doesn't make sense. There's so many things that players can do, even if they don't have a ton of skill, that they can do within an offense that makes it a well-functioning offense. You could set back screens for him. You could, you know, have him set a cross screen and then pop to the middle of the key, and maybe he can get a little 5-6 foot push shot. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. If we're getting good shots inside by a guy like Gabriel and he's missing them, then the personnel excuse has more substance to it. But we're not getting good interior shots hardly ever unless it's like Dame driving through 3 people or Dame like somehow threading a pass through the trap to a rolling big, or, you know, Nurkic backs a guy down from 20 feet to get inside. We don't have sets that produce good interior shots. Like, it's too perimeter based, and that's the way it's always been. It's too jump shot reliant. That is the problem that I have with it. It's too up top, extended, near half court, running around the perimeter. You don't have any sort of action inside. And that was the case last year. That was the case the year before. So the whole excuse like, oh, it's the personnel they have this year, that's why they're not running their full offense. No, that's not true, because I've been looking for certain types of actions for years, and it's just not there in Stotts' offense.
Check the Twitter group chat.
What happened?
Nas posted a picture that you gotta see. It's hilarious. But yeah, it's here's the thing.
What the hell is that?
You gotta put that on the screen.
Bro. Oh my goodness, I gotta downsize it. I'm dying. So what does it say with the captions? I'm saying injuries and personnel is the issue. Stop stagnant offense really hurts us, as well as his defensive schemes. And then Damarang is saying, stop making excuses. None of this is on Terry. It's not his fault. We played bad. Can you even name another coach that's better than Terry? Goodness gracious. Oh my god, that's funny. That's amazing. Did he tweet that out, or did he just post that in the group
I don't know.
Oh
just
my god.
Tweet that too. Nice. So anyways, I am so, this is why I'm triggered. We have Dame, CJ, Melo, for parts of the season we had Hood. Let's see, we had Gary Trent shooting like at a 60% clip at one point in the bubble. We have like one big who is a great finisher around the rim and is a lob threat. We have another big who can pass and can play make a little bit on offense and can score a little bit too. I mean, we have a ton of offensive firepower. And to say that we can't run anything but the most basic pick and roll and ISO offenses because these players don't know what they're doing. Like, we've had lineups where you're telling me like Dame, CJ, Melo, Zach, and Nurk couldn't run more than a basic offense. Like, that's crazy to me. Like, those guys are all smart, good players. Like, there's no way that they can't run a more complex offense than that. And it's not even complex. We ran Dame off of one screen off ball, and he got an open three. We haven't seen it since. We ran another play where, like, Nurk screened for someone, and both guys went with the screen with the shooter, and Nurk was wide open, got fouled, and got to the line. Like, that's the 2 times I've seen an actual, like, off-ball screen this series, and it worked both times. And it, like,
you know what I bet it is? I bet he thinks that, since you run horns and there's like different options that can come out of that set, you know, the pin down, that guy can go up for a handoff, or he can cut middle and then the screener goes up for a handoff. Like, I feel like that is what he thinks is really complex when it's really not. Like, we did that stuff in college. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a complex offense. That's a very basic offense. Just because you don't have, you can do 2 different things instead of 1 as a off-ball player. Like, that doesn't make it complex. You know what I mean? But that's the problem that I have. He never explains why it's complex. He never goes into anything, but then he sits there and complains about empty rhetoric and no substance to back it up. Okay, you want to say the offense is complex? Tell me how it's complex. Tell me what sort of actions I'm apparently not seeing that make the offense complex and super good. Because I don't understand how you could say, you know, the offense isn't stagnant. People just don't understand, you know, the nuances of it and what goes into it. You don't need to understand the nuances of the offense to notice if it's stagnant or not. You don't. You really don't. And there's the being bottom 5 in assists for multiple years in a row says it's stagnant. Like, that's your proof.
Just go watch the first play of the game last night, in a game which we were down 15-0 before the game even started. We had 3 guys literally just go to the corner and stand there while we ran a pick and roll on the other side of the court. That's not an NBA offense. That's like a freaking elementary school offense. Yeah. Like seriously. And this is, again, my point. If you do not have the personnel to run the current system, that's why you need ball movement. That's why you need cuts to the basket to get your lesser players more better shots. Like that's when you want to run more offense, more sets, get more creative with what you're doing on offense. And that's why a guy like Nick Nurse will run circles around a guy like Stotts, because like he's like, okay, it sucks I have these 5 guys, but here's what I'm going to do to get Matt Thomas going from 3 or whatever. You know, like he designs his plays to their strengths. He's not like, Wyndon Gabriel sucks. We just have to hide him on offense in the corner. It's like, no, like, get him going to the basket, get him some lobs. He's incredibly athletic. Like, get him in positions to get offensive rebounds, putbacks, stuff like that, instead of just standing in the corner. Like, there's so many things you can do, and that's the personnel argument just drives me crazy. And here's the other thing about personnel: if you have crappy personnel on defense, you want to be super aggressive and take risks, do more trapping. Like, that's the only way you can try to combat having lesser skill on defense. I'm not convinced we have lesser skill on defense, but if that is truly the reason, we should be pressuring more, we should be more aggressive, we should be trapping more, we should blitz the pick and rolls more often, like we do against Houston, because magically our personnel was fine against Houston, but against other teams we can't do that. Like, and that's what drives me crazy, is if personnel is truly the excuse And it's all on Olshey here for the reasoning behind that. You would see Stotts trying all these things to at least do that, but instead I swear this has to be true. Like, there's no other explanation. Stotts believes it's personnel as well. He believes all this crap that all these people are saying, and he just thinks like, well, what am I supposed to do? I can't do anything different. I'm just going to coach my way, and if the players can't deal with that or aren't good in that, then that's not on me. It's not my fault. Like, what am I supposed to do? I'm not going to change my system. My system works with good players. So if they're not going to give me good players, I'm just going to show them that good players or these crappy players don't work in my system. But, like, he doesn't even give players a chance to work around it. Like, we don't even know if the personnel's right. And even Dan Marang said earlier that he wishes Stotts was better at, like, giving more consistent roles to the younger guys or, like, giving them more minutes so we know what they have. And then he comes out with that crap. So it's just so frustrating because, like, if personnel is bad, that's when we need coaching the most, and he's doing no coaching. He's doing nothing to better these players in this series. Yes, over a regular season, he's a pretty good coach. I've never said otherwise. Like, he is good at managing the roster and players and, you know, building good relationships, building a good culture. He does have strengths. I'm not saying he's like a complete, like, worthless coach. Like, he can do things. But we've seen 3 years in a row, he does not know how to get this team prepared to win in the playoffs. And
against a contending team. Let me say that. Against a contending team against an elite defense. Because that's the thing. OKC, not close to elite defense. Denver, not close to elite defense. This guy's supposed to be an offensive genius, right? But people make all these excuses for him offensively. An offensive genius shouldn't need you to make excuses for his offense. That makes no sense. If that's what he's great at, then he should be able to find workarounds where, okay, we don't have the best personnel at this spot, but if you're an offensive genius, you should be able to offset that player's weaknesses and play that player to their strengths. You know, Wenyen Gabriel as a lob threat, as a cutter through space, you know? Offensive genius should be able to find workaround for these issues, but instead people just throw excuse after excuse after excuse for Terry Stotts, and it's ridiculous. Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
Like, Channing Frye was, like, pretty horrible his first few years in the league, including, I mean, he was, like, all right for us, but not, like, mediocre bench player, right? He goes to Phoenix, and, like, D'Antoni turns him into, like, a three-point specialist, and he, like, thrives in that role. Like, you just gotta, like, find what they're good at and, like, use that to your advantage. Instead, we're just like, oh, we can't run any plays because we have Wenyen Gabriel on the floor. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. It's so crazy.
It's so casual. It's such a casual argument, man. Like,
Alvaro says, wait a second, you're telling me we could make Wenyen, Hassan, Zach Little all attack the rim more? Man, that's a foreign concept.
Well, just think of those guys like, think of a guy like Wenyen. He's quick. He's athletic around the rim, explosive around the rim. Like, how often did you see him being used as a cutter? How often in a set design did you see him being used as a cutter? No, he was literally only used as a screener and sometimes a roller, or sometimes he'd pop. That's it. There's no excuse for that. There's absolutely none. It doesn't make sense, man. Brian Scalabrini, I don't know what you're referring to, but, like, use him as a cutter. That's the thing. We never use our forwards or anything as cutters. It's ridiculous, man. It doesn't make any sense. That's my biggest problem with our offense is too perimeter-based, too much running around the arc, and too reliant on pick and roll and one-on-one play, right? I want to see more back screens, you know? Maybe you have Wenyen at the weak side elbow, and a big goes and sets a back screen for him, and then, you know, if that's not there, the big can maybe flash ball, you know, and one of those guys should be open. It's hard to stop both of those in that action. You know, set cross screens for Nurkic to get him good low post position where he doesn't have to back down his guy from 20 feet away. Maybe he can catch the ball within 5 feet of the rim, which is close enough for him to just catch the ball and turn with a hook shot. You know, like that type of stuff, there's no excuse. Those are very, very, very basic sets. So when people say people just don't understand our offense because it's so complex and nuanced, maybe that's the problem. Because there's very basic, easy things that aren't in our offense that should be, right? It's almost like Stotts wants to get too cute with it, too much too much dressing on the salad, so to say, because it's like, think about it, man. So many offensive possessions, they started with like passing and then running away, then running back to the ball, then passing it to somebody else, then running to them and getting the ball back. Like, they have so much pointless, wasted motion in the offense. It's almost like Stotts just wants it to look pretty instead of it be effective. Like, I don't know, man. There's so much wasted movement up around the perimeter, so much running around the arc. But oh, it's so complex and nuanced. While we're missing basic stuff that would help the team. Like, the whole argument about, oh, our offense is so complex, you don't understand it, is bunk, because the people who make that argument don't ever explain our offense, don't explain what they see. But also, it doesn't have to be nuanced and complex. We're not saying that, we're not saying it has to be, it's not nuanced and complex enough. That's not what we're saying. We're saying it's missing very basic actions.
Mm-hmm. I guarantee you every single player in the NBA knows how to run a cross screen, knows how to set a back screen for someone, knows how to, cut to the basket off ball. These are all simple things. It's so dumb.
Yeah. I don't buy into it's the same arguments, bro. It's the same arguments, same casual arguments. Never break anything down. Never have a conversation that's in depth. Never have a conversation that's focused on what is actually happening out on the hardwood. It's just like, our roster on paper doesn't look this good. And, oh, look at those box scores last year. See, if you look at these box scores, we made the Western Conference Finals. So, obviously, Stotts is good. You know what I mean? Like, they're arguing stuff that you could find out by just going to ESPN.com and never even looking at a play. That is their defense for the coaching.
And here's the deal, Dame and CJ, this is another reason why I hate the personnel problem. They're so good, they can make some of these tough shots. Dave's, how many incredible three-pointers does he shoot per game? He's having to pull up from nearly half court on some of these possessions just to score. Yes, he's making a good percentage of those shots, but think how much better he'd be if he got better looks from three-pointer instead of having to contort his body and try to draw fouls on so many, and always getting trapped, having to beat the trap, having to shoot 5 feet before the three-point line because he knows he's about to get trapped. It's just so crazy to me that we can't run anything like someone suggested on Twitter. Running some elevator screens, and they so an elevator screen is basically, it's kind of like the horn set. Sure.
Since we actually break things down here.
Yeah.
All right. So just let me know if I'm.
I think Daniel, I think that's right, because we talked about this during the stoppage. That so. He says, I wonder if Dame started logo shooting because so crap. But that's one way. Dame basically, we've seen now that Stotts doesn't know how to break the trap through running a set, so he has to do it a different way. And so what he's doing is Dame had to single-handedly start improving his range, so he.
You're kind of lagging out.
Come higher, or he make them pay. Yeah.
You're kind of lagging out. You're getting all robotic. It's just kind of spotty. Try again. Hello. I can hear you. You might be better now. You were Mr. Roboto for a second. Now the lag is on you and not me. Let's go.
Yeah. Got that. So you know what elevator screen is, so you can show them.
Elevator doors. You're talking about the elevator doors?
Yeah, it's
because horn setup would be this, right?
Yeah. So you can run it out of the horn set, and this is what we've been talking about a lot on just having a different wrinkle out of certain sets. And you could run this. It's so simple to run out of a horn set, and this is what Golden State does a lot to free up Clay and Steph off ball. So just it's so simple, but you can show.
Close, screen them off, boom. Okay, so yeah, so horns. Okay, so horns would be passing it. Like, we need to get Trent more shots. So, like, I don't understand why we don't do this out of horns, right? You start horns with these two guys in the corner. You pass to one of the bigs. If you pass there, like, Dame can run away and, like, screen for CJ. He comes around, gets a handoff. Then, you know, like, this guy might screen down. Or Dame can run, you know, like, there's multiple options off this play, right? So Dame can pass here and go away, and they run some action that way. Or he can pass there and go get a handoff. Or he can pass there and go down and screen for this small forward, right? And usually a small forward comes up and gets a handoff, and every now and then Dame will back cut. But something they could easily do is just a wrinkle that could get Trent a shot, and they could call this as just some sort of moniker. It's basically just a variation of horns. But Dame passes it here, goes and sets a screen for Trent. He cuts, right? He cuts. If that's open, of course, you throw it to him. But, you know, if that's not open, Dame can try and V-cut and catch the ball up here. If he's overplayed, then he can back cut and get a lay-in. But Dame can V-cut, get the ball out here, and then this is the elevator doors part of the set. These two bigs, basically they get close, and then once this guy goes through, they shut the door on the defender. Right? So they basically go side by side, and then you pass, and it's like a wall that's hard to get through. And then good action, you know, if this shot should be there for Trent. Maybe it won't be, but like if it's not, then like then maybe you could go set a screen for Dame to run off a screen towards the hoop, you know what I mean? Or run some sort of action that involves movement towards the rim.
And see, this is what drives me crazy about seeing a random play, like if we did this one time in a game and then you never see it again. So what you can do from it is, like, the power forward or the center could just set a back pick for the other one if multiple defenders go out there, and then whoever gets the screen set for him just rolls right to the basket and they'd be wide open for a dunk.
You mean after the elevator doors?
Yeah. So like, let's say they were overplaying and it was hard to get the ball to the small forward there, so the point guard still had the ball. Yeah. So like the power forward or the center could just turn around and screen, and the center could curl around that and go right to the basket for an alley-oop dunk.
Yeah, like if
there's so many variations like that you could do too.
Because I mean, you just have to get comfortable playing off it. But like, say, you know, the small forward, they shut it on the small forward. He has trouble getting through, so the center like cheats up here. That leaves a gap for Nurkic to just go and catch the ball rumbling towards the rim, right? If this power forward like plays back for Nurkic cutting, then this power forward can fade out. It just puts him in a weird position, you know what I mean? It's if you freelance off it right, you should be able to either get this as an open three or get one of your bigs going towards the rim as an option. You know, if the center doesn't overplay, but like the power forward maybe switches out, this small forward is still kind of trying to get through. They don't communicate the best. This guy can slip for a backdoor lob. That's usually a smaller player. They probably won't be caught up. You know what I mean? And this point guard has the ball. Also, if Dame gets pressed, Dame has this whole side of the floor to drive off this. Has this whole left side, which he's really good at playing on. And that's the thing. It's like, instead of him running off a pick and roll all game long into two defenders, then trying to pass out of it, you could run some sort of action that makes all three of these players viable options if they don't defend it right. And if they do defend it right, you have Dame in a position where he basically has a whole side of the floor. Like, he's such a good shooter. Point guards have to guard up. It's very hard to stay in front of this Dame going this side of the floor. Like, Dame should either be able to get to the rim or get a clean step-back mid-range jumper. So even though this play isn't drawn up for Dame, it's actually drawn up for Gary Trent, which we don't have enough action for Gary Trent. It puts Dame in a better spot to potentially get a good look where he doesn't have all the defense's attention on him. Because that's the thing. We just have Dame run pick and roll against a set defense that's set to load up on him. We don't have action that gets a guy like Trent an open three is drawn up for Trent. B, we don't have action that presents us with an opportunity for maybe a center or a big man to be open on a cut to the rim. And C, we don't have, you know, those two things in a set would be good. It also puts Dame in a spot where if none of those things work, he has space to go one-on-one. It's not one-on-one against a loaded defense because his defense is worrying about all this, and of course the shooting guard can't leave CJ in the corner here. So that type of stuff, like, that would be good offense. Why don't we run some type of stuff like that? Like, that's hard to guard. You could run that a couple times in a row, and maybe Trent gets through, hits a three, so then the center overplays, so then this guy has a back cut. Like, that type of stuff is what I wish we ran. Instead, it's a lot of running around the arc and handoff, pick and roll, and then, none of this working. Okay, let me go one-on-one against the defense that's set because everybody's standing around. Thoughts?
I was just so frustrated because, like, I don't understand how an NBA coach could not implement some of these things. Like, and then people defend him not implementing those because he doesn't have the personnel to do it. It has nothing to do with personnel. Like,
Popovich implements this type of set. Like, Pop loves elevator doors. Like, he runs a lot of elevator doors. He runs a lot of, like, baseline, coming up, slipping cutters. He runs it with anybody. It doesn't matter who the hell is in the game. He runs it with anybody. Obviously, it's going to be less effective with, like, lesser players, but that doesn't mean that he can't try and run it. That's the thing. It's like, if you had lesser players in the game that, like, couldn't properly execute this type of set design, nobody would be complaining about Stoss for the set design. That's when it's like, okay, we probably need better players in there to execute this set because this is a good set. The problem is we don't have good enough sets. That's the thing. There's two different things. It's like the set design and the execution portion of it. And people use the personnel, which should only be an excuse for maybe it not being executed right, but people use the personnel and excuse the set design. It doesn't make sense.
Yep. And honestly, you and I, you heard us after game one. Like, we're not too proud to admit if Stotts does something well or has a good game. Like, we'll say that. If he came out in this series and ran some creative sets and we got some good looks like we did in the first quarter of game one, if we would have done that at any point since then, I'd be here saying, like, you know what, like, it sucks we have all these injuries, but Stotts tried, like, doing some different things. Like, I saw the elevator screen like 3 times. Like, we're still not able to score. We just don't have the personnel to, like, match up with the Lakers. They're just too good defensively or whatever. Like, that's fine then, but, like, to not even see anything different from this team that we didn't do anything different than what we're doing right now in the Western Conference Finals last year. We didn't do anything different against the Pelicans. It's just so bad to just, like, the coach is basically not coaching. Like, this, it's just what's happening. Like, he's not coaching the team. He is just saying, it's my way or the highway, and these players are not good enough, and you just need to learn my system, and it's so complex and whatever. Like he believes this crap that these guys are spewing about him. Yep. Like he's not like trying to do anything differently. Like, I cannot believe we're talking about how we're not running any kind of offense and we're super stagnant against the Lakers when we all knew going into this series we could not do that and win the series. Like, we absolutely had no chance. And then you got guys like Chad Doing who say, like, we weren't going to beat the Lakers anyway. Even if we had Nick Nurse at coach, we wouldn't beat the Lakers. That's not the point. It's not the point. It's like, at least Nick Nurse would have learned from the previous mistakes and done something different. And now here's the problem. We're not going to fire Stotts this offseason, so we're going to have him next year. So what's going to happen in the playoffs next year when we have a loaded team and we're like 8 or 9 deep in the playoffs, and we've got, like, players, shooters, scorers, defenders at every position, and we still suck because we're not running the right thing. And you guys are going to see that it was not personnel. It was that Stotts' system does not work to win a championship. He does not change it and adapt enough. He does not make adjustments that you have to make in the playoffs. You cannot be stubborn. You cannot just keep running the same thing out there and think, oh, next year maybe when I have better players it'll work. It doesn't work against elite teams. They know how to stop it. The Lakers Stotts admitted that the Lakers knew how to take Nurk out of the pick and roll, but yet he still runs Nurk pick and roll the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what's so dumb about this, is that Stotts admits that his system is not working in this series, yet the next game after he makes that comment, he still was just running the same basic pick and roll thing. Mm-hmm. And that's not going to get us to where we need to get.
I'm convinced, like, next year, if we had all the great personnel where people couldn't complain about the personnel, and if our system just got only contested step-back fadeaway threes, that the people that defend Stotts would still say, "Oh, well, we just didn't make shots." Right? Yep. We didn't make the step-back fadeaway threes, so what can Stotts do? He can't make the shots for him. Even if that's all our offense is getting, step-back fadeaway threes, which is, contested step-back fadeaway threes is not what you want out of an offense, right? Mm-hmm. But that's the thing, it doesn't matter. They don't hold the coach to any sort of standard, right? They act like they do, they pretend like they do, but they don't. But here's the thing, like, do you want to go on that? Because I want to show some other things.
Yeah, I just want to say something about what Trevin just said. He said Draymond on TNT is proof that our system doesn't work, because he basically clowned our system and said why we never beat the Warriors because we have this crappy system. But you know who quote tweeted one of Draymond's videos breaking down the Lakers and calling him a clown? Do you know who did that?
Who?
Dan Meringue said Draymond's a clown and he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Dan Meringue knows better than Draymond Green, everybody. Yep. God, man, the ego with that guy is ridiculous. Ridiculous, bro. Like, it's so comical. Like, this dude has defended against it. This dude has had to game plan against it, watched hours of film preparing for playoff series, and then he had to defend against it. You really think that you know more, Dan Meringue? You really think that you know more? Like, have some freaking, be honest with yourself. Like, have some self-awareness, man. It's ridiculous. Like, gee, like, our offense always completely just falls apart against them. And he's their best defender. Like, how can you even have the audacity to say that? Like, how can you really lie that blatantly? Like, the thing is, though, I think Dan actually believes that Draymond doesn't understand what he understands about the Blazers offense.
Well, no one can understand other than him that Stotts is being controlled and told what to do, remember? So that's the other thing. Like, he's told who to play. He's told who to start. He's told what minutes they have to do. So there's nothing he can do. Obviously, he's told what defense to run. He's told what offense to run. He's told that he can't come up with creative sets. He just has to have the simplest sets and can't do anything else. So we just don't understand that being a coach, you can't just do what you want to do as a coach. You have to do what you're being told to do, and that's there's nothing he can do about that, dude.
It's so ridiculous, bro. It's so comical. It's such a joke. Who's this Danny guy? The guy who hosts the Blazers post-game show on the TV that the Blazers play on the channel that the Blazers play on. He's our main post-game guy.
The regional.
Yeah, NBC Sports Northwest. He does their post-game show. He hosts Blazers Outsiders.
He also does stuff on Blazers Edge.
Yeah. God. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, man. Like, you guys see through the crap. I feel like if every Blazer fan listened to us, the ones who disagree with us, just after this segment, would be questioning things. Would be questioning Dan Meringue. Even his fans, you know what I mean? Anybody who actually, actively listen to us, people who just these guys don't listen to anything. They say, yeah, they'll still, be a Dan Meringue fan. But I feel like if people actually listen to us, they would see this too. Like, it's obvious if you look for it. It's obvious if you take your head out of the sand and you actually pay attention. Like, oh God, it's just, that's ridiculous. But I didn't even know that he said that. But that's the thing. We ain't gonna talk trash about him unless he talks trash about us, unless he pulls some bullshit with us, which is what he's been doing the past 24 hours. So we're gonna go off cuff and we're gonna expose just the dumb stuff that he said, the ridiculousness that he tweets. And I have no problem with that, man. That's how it is. Like, we're going to always fire back. But funnily enough, we rarely fire first.
Yeah, see, this was from a couple weeks ago too, so it wasn't even like recent. So like I haven't said anything about it. Like whatever. I was like, that's stupid, but like I'm not even gonna say anything about it.
Hey, but we're the toxic ones because we respond to them calling idiots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you wanna block me, fine, but just admit that you just don't like. You can't have a conversation with me. Like you too. Like he blocked us because he does not want to get involved in a conversation with us. He's sick of us always having good points to his posts and making him look stupid. And he just blocked us so he doesn't have to deal with it anymore. And now he's going to block anyone else who tries to like mention us or have good points like we do, because all of you guys now are seeing the lights or whatever. And so that's what he did. So that's fine. If he wants to just say, hey, look, I'm sick of the Stotts hate. I just don't want to talk about it on Twitter. Like, I'm sick of it. I had to block those guys because, like, I just didn't want to deal with it anymore. Fine. Like, fine. Like, cool. Like, I don't think that's like, right of him to do, but, like, I'm not going to argue with him, and at least he's honest about it. But to say, like, we, like, called him out and we're saying he was sucking Stotts off and crap like that, like, say stuff that we did not say about him, like, don't like, try to, like, make us look like the bad people when we haven't done anything to you, dude. Like, we haven't done anything. We've only responded to you guys, like, quote tweeting us or calling us out, or, like, at the beginning of the year, all those people calling us donkey clowns and all that stuff. And funny how, like, except for Chad, almost all those guys have now blocked us because, they can't hang in a conversation with us. But that's Blazer Media. Those are all the Blazer Media guys.
Yep. So, it's just ridiculous, man. Let me go back to the clipboard. Just a couple more sets that I want to see. That there's no excuse for us not having. There's no excuse for us not having, this power forward being, Melo or Zach. Whiteside would kind of be in here, but just side of the floor. There's no excuse for not having some sort of set where you set a cross screen for Nurkic and have him flash, right? If the center gets caught up, the center would probably go under on this screen. There's no reason to chase Nurkic over. The center would probably slip under, but then Nurkic is in front of him going down here. And then you're able to enter it to Nurkic in the paint, somewhere in here, maybe a little closer to the block down here, but you're able to enter it to him here and get him good low post position, and then Dame can flash up, space the floor, right? Problem is, to try and get Nurkic the ball inside, we literally walk the ball up this side of the floor. Nurkic's guy is just pushing him out of the paint, and then we throw it to Nurkic here with like 1650 on shot clock, and then Nurkic takes like 8 seconds, not quite that much, but Nurkic expends a lot of energy and tries to back him down, normally can't back him all the way down to get close enough to the hoop to make a move, kind of gets stuck here, okay, well I'm gonna try and pass it out or something. And then, passes it back out to Dame. Oh, now there's 8 on the shot clock. Oh, Dame, you gotta go one-on-one to save us. Or, we gotta go set him on ball screen, and he has to try and come off and nail this super contested 3, right? That is terrible set design. Like, if you want to get Nurkic a good low post entry, have Dame bring the ball up, right? Have Dame bring the ball up quickly, though. Have him bring it here. And then have somebody, I don't care who it is, it can be freaking, if they're playing Whiteside and Nurkic together, it can be Whiteside, Have Whiteside set a back screen for Nurkic and Nurkic go here, and then he has good low post positioning. If they both kind of go with Nurkic, you have the backdoor lob to Whiteside. But either way, you get Nurkic good low post position, and he doesn't have to waste time trying to back down his guy from 20 feet. Like, just simple stuff like that. There's no excuse whatsoever. This being Wenyen Gabriel doesn't mean we can't have Wenyen Gabriel come set a back screen for Yusuf Nurkic. It doesn't make sense. That's why the personnel excuse doesn't fly with me. It's just simple stuff like that. Or it doesn't even have to be a back screen. You can bring the ball down and this guy can screen across for Nurkic. He can flash across and maybe get the ball in here and get good low post position. You know what I mean? Like, there's no excuse for not running these simple stuff. Like, if you want to get Nurkic a touch, right? just call this. Just have a set name for a cross screen. Have a set name for a back screen. And you can get Nurkic the ball inside. There's no excuse for, oh, well, we're going to try and get Nurkic the ball. Oh, we're going to post him up out here.
Well, they have so Stotts has that one play. He runs it way too much, probably. But it's an out of bounds play from underneath the basket, and he has like the power forward go to the free throw line, and he gets like a lob pass, and then the center seals this guy, and the power forward just dumps it into the center, and he's got basically a 2-foot hook shot or lay-in.
Yeah.
If he seals it right, and the pass is good.
The reason why this works is because the center can't guard him up here. They would just drop it to Nurk. That'd be a dunk. So he has to guard him like in between the ball and him, so he can't enter it. So he's already on his back. So like this is actually a really good play design. This power forward comes up. He has size. You just throw it up high to him. If it's a guy like Zach, he can make that mid-range, shot, especially if it's a guy like Melo too. So this guy has to go out with them. But you just throw it over the top and then throw it immediately into the center who has good low post position. And Nurkic converts on that a lot, which makes no sense that we can't have some sort of set to get him good low post position in the half court.
I believe it was the first quarter of game 1, or it might have been the Memphis game. Wenyen actually was the power forward and had a nice pass to Nurk, and he scored on that. So like I know Wenyen can run that. So like, but like if you could run that, there's no reason why you can't run some sort of action in your normal offense to get a similar steal close to the basket or some sort of action between your two bigs to where they have. It's just frustrating because you see it work when they run it from out of bounds. Like, why can't you incorporate some of that same type of wrinkles into your normal offense?
Yep. Doesn't make sense. So those are the type of actions we're missing. I'd also like something like Dame gets so overplayed. It'd be interesting to see something like out of the horn set. This is something that could be ran out of the horn set, right? He gets overplayed here. This guy V-cuts, or this guy can even run, however, just get this guy the ball and then set up Nurkic off this power forward. Especially if this is Melo, right? If the point guard guards him here, then you might be able to get a back screen. This center might interfere, but, it'd be a cut to the rim. Or if they might be able to push this guy down into the screen and then run off this way, and then get the ball on the move running towards the rim. You know what I mean? Just simple stuff like that. Little cuts to the rim. It's not going to work all the time, obviously, but those are the type of stuff we don't have in our offense at all. And this is out of the horn set, Just instead of this small forward starting down the corner, bring him up. Run. That's why I don't understand. We run horn set, but we don't run variations out of horns that has movement towards the rim. The only movement we ever get towards the rim is this pin down and this guard coming off. But this isn't even that hard to guard because you literally can just slide under it. If this guard comes up, you go up. It's and you're switchable if it's between Dame and CJ. It's switchable if it's between Dame and Trent.
What happens if Melo's a small forward? So if he gets the ball out of this horn set and Dame's still up top, so what ends up happening is, so they'll pass to Melo. CJ will stay in the corner. Dame will kind of fade over to the side where he'll just kind of slowly fade back to the side where CJ is on, and spot up out there. The bigs will just kind of stand there. The power forward probably vacates and just lets him go, and then it's just becomes an ISO situation. It's not but those guys aren't running any movement. They're just standing there waiting for Melo to do something and shoot the ball or whatever. And you could get so many better looks at it. And how many times have we seen Melo when he's told or it's something designed for him to pass the ball? He's a really good passer. If he is thinking pass right when he gets the ball versus I'm gonna go 1-on-1 here, because with Melo it's either he's gonna basically shoot or dribble till he shoots and get his shot, or he's going to pass right away almost. So there's not really an in between with him a lot of times. So you design some stuff to where, like, okay, you're going to get the ball here, and Nurk's going to be coming off this pick, or Dame's going to be coming off this pick, or someone's going to be going back door, or someone's going to be cutting, and he'll look for that. Like, he's not.
You want an idea?
Ball hawk. Yeah.
You want an idea? So you know how I was saying, okay, set this screen for Nurk, maybe get him low post position. Something you could easily do with this is set this screen for Nurk. Nurk comes off. Then you screen across for Melo, and Melo comes off middle, and then this guy rolls.
Yep.
Because if Dame doesn't throw it into Nurk, you have this screen for Melo, who can catch the ball here, and like he likes kind of shooting from here. He can catch and shoot, right? So let's say they pass to Melo, he can catch and shoot. Or if they both go with him, he could maybe throw this lob. Or, you know, if the shot isn't there, Nurkic could try and get position and get an entry there. Or Nurkic could come up, set a back screen for Dame. You know, I mean, there's good action off of that. Or if you don't, or he could throw it to Nurkic. You know, Nurkic could get the ball entered in the post. They still run this action. They can still run this, set the screen for Melo. Nurkic can make this pass. Or Nurkic, you know, this guy cuts. That might be open. He can make that pass if that's open. Layup. Or if that's not there, Nurkic can go to work. He can vacate. Melo can go back up top. Or if they don't throw it to Melo or Nurkic, if like Nurkic isn't open in the first place, Dame could throw this pass to Melo, or Dame, and you know, and then this guy rolls. That could be maybe a backdoor lob. You know what I mean? Like, that's very simple action that results in multiple different looks with players of strength. Like, if this is Wenyen rolling, like, I like Wenyen in that position. That's Melo going to mid range. That's Nurkic with good low post position. And literally all it is this back screen, boom, screen across, boom, roll. It's that simple. Just stuff like that. Like, if we ran a set like that, it would be so hard to defend. So hard to defend. Because this guy got to stay on CJ. This guy's going to play up on Dame. Dame's a good enough passer. Like, this type of action is not hard to defend. And then if it doesn't work, okay, then come up and run pick and roll. Instead of just doing pick and roll all the time.
And that's one thing, it's worked the few times we've done it, where if you have Melo at the top as the press or the trap breaker guy, like, I feel like he makes good decisions in that situation because he can score from there, he can pass from there, all that kind of stuff. So, like, I really like getting him in a position where he's got the two bigs to pass to, or he can shoot that mid range if he's open. But yeah,
wouldn't that be a great set? Wouldn't you love seeing that set run?
Dude, I would, yeah.
Very easy set to run. Bro, me,
Yep.
you, and 3 random people, we could run that and have that set down in 5 minutes. In 5 minutes. It's that easy of a set. It's so complex and nuanced. They, like, run around here, and he can run this way, or he can run that way, or he can run that way, or he could run that way, and he could do a handoff, or he could not take the handoff and then take a screen and come back, or he could not take the handoff and screen away, and CJ could come take a handoff. Like, bro, all that stuff is just pointless movement, man. Our set design is not effective. There is a lot of simple, good actions that could get players in a position of strength. Could get Melo a good range shot. You know, he might be open. He can come off this and catch and shoot. And if he's guarded, I think Melo would be able to make this pass to this roll guy. Instead of like, oh, well, Melo's going to like isolate LeBron and try and like pull up with LeBron just set in his face, you know, from here. Like, that's the thing. It's or Nurkic low post position, which I want to see more of, man. I want to see more of Nurk with low post position. Bro, imagine if you're able to enter the ball into Nurk and then you run this sort of action with Melo coming off. Oops, what the hell? Melo coming off this and then this guy rolling. Nurkic would throw some dimes. Nurkic, that Arvidas under the arm pass to Wenyen or up top to Melo.
I was just going to say, so when we had Sabonis, we'd do something similar, and he'd always have a cutter on the backside. Mm-hmm. And if that guy had his man beat, Vitas would dime him out, and we'd get a lay-in or a dunk off it every time if he beat his man. But you can't you can't ever beat your man if you don't ever cut. So like that's the problem with our
Yep.
team is we don't ever cut. So like we don't know if we could have beat him. Like I saw your video of that one time where like someone fell over or something, and then Mello like cut like randomly on his, like
yeah, I didn't even know what the set was. I was just commenting. I was like, "Oh, a cut."
like we were all jumbled, and the play was just a disaster. And then Mello just cuts randomly, and like Nurk finds him, or I think it was Nurk, and then
Yeah.
like he got fouled, and we went to the free throw line. It's like, see, like cutting works. Like it just gets the defense. It's too easy to stop the defense when they know exactly where all the players are going to be. It's just like what we were saying on when we're playing defense. Like the offense, like if we knew how a defense was going to play us every time and they weren't trapping Dame and doing anything, like we would score 150 points a game. Like it would be insane. But like it's just crazy that we're so predictable on both offense and defense.
Yeah. Man.
But Dionysus mentions that Dame always or his playoff numbers aren't great, like overall. And I mean, this is a product of it. Like it's this offense that we run.
Mm-hmm.
It works during the regular season because teams can't, from game to game, like exploit it the way it gets exploited in the playoffs. And you see it not work in several games, or you see it work fine. Like it's okay to have a basic offense most of the season. I mean, I still think this is why we struggle against top teams in the regular season, just like when the playoffs, when the competition gets better. But like we've always done good on beating lesser teams, so that's never been the problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're on the screen.
I know.
But yeah, we've never had a problem. Like a couple years ago, I think we were like 20. Okay, we were like 20, 25-5 or something against the East or something like that. Like we can beat bad teams, but the problem has been over the last couple of years. How can we take that next step to not have these like offensive lulls in the playoffs? And it's just, I just don't get how we do not have some sort of wrinkle by now, or some sort of thing we can do to try and score, instead of just like, oh well, we didn't execute, we didn't make shots, blah blah blah. Like I can't believe we're still sitting here talking about that.
Yep. Yeah, man. That's the thing, is I wish freaking these media guys wouldn't have such a big ego, and they'd like come on the screen or come on the stream and be willing to actually have this conversation where I could show, like, why don't we have sets to do this, do that, and I want to hear their legitimate answers, because they never give a legitimate answer to that. Like all the stuff that we raise, we can explain it better by being able to talk than through Twitter with limited amount of characters and all that.
Yeah.
But I'd want to hear a legit answer. That's the thing. They don't give legitimate answers. They don't reply to anything like that's super legitimate on Twitter. They don't reply to us, and it's like we're literally not even attacking them. Sometimes, I'll poke at Chad, but that's because he called me an idiot, called me a clown, and then won't even have an interaction. Like he wants to try and call me out and like talk trash about me in the past, and now it's just Stotts, people who are critical of Stotts, but then he won't have he won't have a conversation about it. Like that stuff's just weak, man. I think literally basically almost every member of Blazers media is just weak. They're all the same. They're all the same way, man. And it just sucks. It just sucks. Like, I wonder how it is in different markets. I wonder if it's kind of the same thing or if it's different in different places. I assume it's like different in places like Philadelphia and places like New York. I don't know what it is with Portland, though, that is that way. But it's almost just like the soccer mom mentality, like, in regards to Terry Stotts.
Okay, Bill Simmons.
I mean, wasn't entirely wrong, man. Like the way they analyze Stotts and view Stotts is like a soccer mom type of complex.
So Kevin in the comments has been mentioning a lot about playing Dame off ball, and if some of that's on him for not moving around and stuff. So here's the thing. Like he mentioned that article. Did we talk about that, or was that with someone else?
No, we didn't.
So there was an article about comparing I think it was on ESPN. It might have been somewhere else, but it was comparing Steph and Dame, and it basically talked about how the difference between Dame and Steph is that Steph gets way better looks because he is utilized off ball better.
Yeah.
Oh, it was on the Athletic. Sorry, thanks, Kevin. And by Anthony Slater on the
That's why I
Athletic.
didn't see it.
So yeah, he broke it down. Like he used film and pictures and all that stuff about how like Dame could be doing this off ball and like, or we could be running these kind of sets that they run for Steph to get him open. Like we already talked about the elevator screen and stuff like that. But so yes, a little bit of that is on the players to move, but this is Dame's 8th season, right? So there has to be. Coach Stotts has been his coach the entire time, so I am not going to put the blame on a player who's been with a coach for 8 years for not moving without the ball. That's the coach not telling him or showing him through film, hey, look, if you just did move to this spot in that situation. And it would be different if we ran a bunch of off-ball stuff and Dame was just standing around and not moving properly in a post-up situation or off an offensive rebound or whatever. Like, then maybe I would say that. But, like, we don't run enough off-ball stuff for me to say that, oh, Dame's just not doing it or it's any of the players' fault. I think it's more it's just more that we're not taught to move around off ball. So like we basically ball watch and stand around. So that enables the players to do that too. So like yeah, I just wish like we would run more stuff like the Warriors do. And like why we can't stop them. Why not implement some of that stuff? It's just like the Lakers taking away our pick and roll with aggressive stuff, and then us not being aggressive against their pick and roll on defense. It's just like we don't adapt things from other teams that work against us. Like it's just crazy to me.
Yeah, Kevin said Curry wasn't doing much off ball with Mark Jackson. As soon as Kirk came, his game opened up. You're right, Eric. That's 100% right. That's why I'm not a fan of Mark Jackson. Is like. People say, oh, we should fire Terry Stotts and hire Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson would provide all the same issues that Stotts does, except Mark Jackson might be a little harder on the defense, might be a little better defensively. That's about it. Like, offensively, a lot of the same problems. But you brought in Steve Kerr. The Warriors brought in Steve Kerr. Steph Curry didn't want Mark Jackson fired, right? They were actually doing well. They were doing better than they had in, like, over a decade. And Mark Jackson was there for that. So people could easily say, oh, well, we're making the playoffs, and you know, we're competitive in the playoffs, and we haven't been in forever, so why would we fire Mark Jackson? But they did, and they brought in Steve Kerr, who completely turned around that franchise with just ingenious offense and just completely changed the way they play offensively. And the personnel barely changed. The only thing that really changed was subbing out David Lee for Draymond Green, which definitely kind of helped them play that. But Mark Jackson had Draymond Green and didn't utilize him that way. You know what I mean? He ran the too big lineup instead. So that's the thing, man. Like, we could do some of that same stuff if we had the right coach, in my opinion. Like, Nurkic is a good passer. Nurkic is kind of could be our Draymond, in my opinion. Draymond's passing isn't even that impressive. It's just like they utilize him in that role. I think if we utilize Nurkic in that role and you got comfortable with it, we could kind of run the same style of offense. You know, we have the two lethal shooters. We have Dame and CJ.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say to that is Nurk can't like get a rebound and go coast to coast like Draymond can. But other than that,
but you don't need him to. That's like fast transition. I'm just talking half court.
In a half court set, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But so someone responded to one of Thomas Doransky and Chad Dewing's tweets. It wasn't directed at me, but someone is saying like. So, like, if it's not Stotts again, like, what kind of coach would you want? Do you want, like, a young, unproven guy that has a chance to do all these things? Or do you want, like, a veteran coach with playoff experience and blah, blah, blah? Mm-hmm. So, here's how I answer that question. I do not care if they have experience or they're the most experienced coach ever, as long as they are willing to adapt and change and are not stuck like in a way where it's their system or nothing else. Like I want someone who comes in and says in the interview, look, I will try this, this, and this. If that doesn't work, I will switch to this. If that doesn't work, I will try this. I like, like someone who isn't like, hey, I have this system. I ran it in Dallas. It worked and won me a championship with Dirk Nowitzki. And now, like, no one can tell me that it's wrong. It'll work. It'll work. Like, I promise you, it'll work here. Like, but I'll go down trying if it doesn't work. Like, and that's what's crazy to me is that's what Stas is doing here. And we just need someone like we're seeing. We talked about this with Mike Malone. Being kind of like that. I know they won tonight, but like once again, you have a player just go insane in Jamal Murray. It's not like he did anything different coaching wise really in this game tonight for Denver to win. He just had a terrific performance by Jamal Murray. And so I just want a coach that is willing to listen to other people, listen to his assistants, brings in assistants that actually have like say and can do things. And I don't know who that guy is. Like I'm not able to interview coaches or do anything. Like I don't know. Like Kevin Reese mentioned Earl Watson. I've been very impressed with some of his Instagram videos that he's been breaking down defenses during this playoffs and bubble thing. But like I mean I don't know. Did he get a fair shake in Phoenix? Like I think he was there a little over a year, I think. Like I don't know. Phoenix has kind of sucked for a long time, but yeah, I don't know who that is. I would want to like have a set thing that you're looking for though, and that's adaptability and willing to do whatever it takes. I just feel like our coaching staff doesn't grind. They're just like, okay, we're gonna coach this way. We'll hope it works, like they don't have that like passion to like keep coming up with new things and trying to be inventive and creative and stuff like that.
Yep. Agree.
It'll work eventually when Olshey gets some better players.
Yeah, but you know what's crazy is how Stotts gets more of an excuse for injuries than Olshey. Olshey's sole job or main job is to provide personnel for the team. So if anything, injuries should be an excuse that flies for him because he provided players and then some of them got injured, right? It doesn't fly for it doesn't make any sense that the coach gets more of an excuse for having personnel with injuries than the GM does. You know what I mean? But nobody gives all these people defending Stotts don't give Olshey a pass for the GM. It's Olshey didn't give Stotts anything to work with. But if you look at the team, if healthy, you would have Dame, CJ, Ariza, Zach Collins or Melo, right? Nurkic, and then the bench would be Trent, Hood, Whiteside, and either Zach Collins or Melo. Let's just say Melo. Like, that is a super deep team. That is a very talented team. That Olshey put together. Why doesn't it, how does Stotts get more of an excuse for injuries? Like, it doesn't make any logical sense at all.
And, I mean, I don't want to go through every game, but I could sit here and list at least 10 games where we were less injured and had way more talent than the team we lost to this year. And those games would have made a huge difference in not having to play so hard in all 8 bubble games, being in a better position to make the playoffs, maybe even being a better seed to where we weren't playing the Lakers in the first round. So yeah, like I hate that personnel thing. That's the other thing. Like people personnel. Like how do you explain then losing to the Warriors this year when they had their entire starting 5 out and we still had Dame and CJ and all like good players? Like it's just so.
Okay.
We haven't done it in a while, but
2K Land, aka Nas, aka now his name is NBA Draft Specialist, but tweet these out, bro. The last one especially. Tweet it out.
Did you do another one?
Yeah.
Or did you just see the girl one?
He did the latest one, the one you said he's on fire to. Apparently Tramian Lillard made it on TNT. Nice.
Yeah, I saw that.
Shaquille O'Neal. Hey, good job, man. Shaquille O'Neal swims. Shaquille O'Neal. What? I don't even know what the basis is for that. That's funny. Oh, hearing Shaq and Ernie read that made my day, I bet. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what else you want to talk about on this stream.
So,
Other
2K
than
Land asked when the mock draft on the website's going to come out. The website, what did you say, like September-ish?
September 20th ish.
September 20th is supposed to draft, yeah, and so we'll have some mocks shortly after that, most likely. If not for launch date, maybe. But
I'll do I might do a video, like a mock draft video, but we'll see.
some people had some questions in chat earlier about the dates and stuff. So today it came out that it's looking like the NBA is going to push back the draft and the free agency period. And with that, they're also basically admitting that there's no way the season's going to start in December this year. So we're probably looking at sometime January through March-ish of the next season starting. And just
jeez.
We're just
would be like the same timeline as this year for the playoffs and stuff.
Yeah.
But
I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, it'd be fun, but
the later they go, the more of a chance fans are in the stands, the more of a chance we could actually go to a Blazer game. So, I mean, I have no complaints with that.
there's all kinds of people out there saying there's no way it can happen unless they do the bubble again. And I don't know. I mean, it's one thing for this short season with the playoffs and stuff, but like,
nobody can...
we talk about like a whole regular season and playoffs. There's no way people are going to do drafts.
Yeah, and you can't say anything with any definitiveness in regards to like December or January with this virus. Like we haven't like talked about anything like pandemic wise in a very long time, but you can't say with any sort of definitiveness, whatever the word is.
I just think,
not a word. But like,
yeah, no one knows. But like, I feel like we're getting into almost September now. I think they're thinking, oh man, it's not looking like it's gonna happen anytime soon. So even December is questionable now.
The NBA is talking about, well, we want to try and have fans in the stands next year. So like that's like, there's like bubble, there's no fans, but like playing in home arenas or playing at like regional sites, like maybe traveling into a bubble for maybe a week or two and then traveling out. Like you could do some mix between like a bubble and home sites or whatever. Like there's multiple different ways that I think would be viable, hopefully, by December. You can't speak with any sort of definitiveness. You don't know what sort of treatment is going to come out in the next 4 months. You don't know what progress is going to be made on a vaccine in the next 6 months, 7 months. Like, that's the thing. And you're talking about a season that's going to last until the middle of summer next year. Like, there's no way you could project what's going to happen, like, 10 months from now, 9 months from now. Like, that's the thing with people. It's just, like, we don't know yet. You don't even have to make a decision yet. So, like, why are we saying, they have to have a bubble next year? Like, you don't know.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't saying they have to. I'm just
I know you weren't saying that. I'm saying to the people that are saying that, because I've seen that too.
Yeah. I think because the NFL hasn't started yet, obviously. Baseball started. They've had several outbreaks, and they've had to postpone or cancel several games. Mm-hmm. So I think it's going to be really important to see how that season finishes out. Because, I mean, they're still pushing through it, and it seems to be getting better now.
The thing is, their rosters are like 3 times as big, and they play every day compared to, like, every other day or, like, once every 2.5 days.
Well, it's not a apples and oranges comparison necessarily, but baseball, there's a lot less interaction, too, between the people, if you're doing the right protocols and keeping the right thing. But this is the problem, as we're seeing with college outbreaks everywhere right now. Saw a bunch of pictures of huge like frat parties and stuff today at all the colleges, even though they're like begging the students not to have like huge get-togethers and stuff. So we see that like these young athletes, the college age kids, especially the younger ones, are not going to necessarily be the best. We already saw Lou Williams out of the bubble going to a strip club. Like I just don't have faith that like people will um, be strict about what they're doing outside of the games to make sure that everyone's safe. We've seen numerous examples of people being selfish during this whole pandemic thing, and yeah, so I'm hoping that because if the NFL doesn't have any problems and they have a more contact throughout their games, they have more players on their roster, like you said. But if they can get through their season, then I have a lot of hope for the NBA. So I think they're going to kind of wait and see what happens with both MLB trying to finish and the NFL.
The thing is, though, is that this pandemic is like in December and January. Good chance that's not the same sort of situation that it was in September or October. And I'm not necessarily talking like just a curve or case numbers. I'm talking about treatment. I'm talking about if everything goes right, potentially a vaccine in January, February, early 2001 is kind of like their most optimistic timetable, right? So like that's the thing is like it's going to be a changing situation like with the pandemic itself. I think they're delaying it because I think that gives them more of a chance where, like, okay, maybe if they start in February or early March, right, maybe there is a vaccine that's not widely available yet, but it's been proven as effective enough to curb the pandemic. And, okay, so you put these guys in a bubble for a month or two, March, April, whatever. And then at that point, enough people can be vaccinated. They can be vaccinated. They can come out of the bubble. And maybe at that point, you are able to have fans in stands. Like, you go from bubble to kind of back to normal-ish, right? Like, that's the thing. It's a long season. So, obviously, stuff might go bad. And they might not be able to find a vaccine by that point. And we kind of have to repeat a whole bubble situation. I'm just saying, like, we don't know what it's going to look like in December, January, February, March, right? And that's kind of the timeline it's projected to start. Yeah. So,
see, why I mentioned like how it's almost September already. I mean, you saw with just the bubble, the planning of it, they had to allow like 2 months for it to happen once they announced that they were their plans for the bubble. So we're talking about like a whole season now. So. But it's really hard. It's really hard to say right now, okay, this is our plan. We're going to do this. I think that was what they were hoping to have. And then as it's gotten closer, now they're like, okay, we're going to have to push it back further. And that's why you're seeing the dates changes.
I will say this. I don't think they'll need as much prep time since they've done it once. And they could, a lot of the measures that they needed time to come up with, they would just re-implement.
Well, they will if it's not a bubble because it would have to be like a whole new strategy.
I don't even think it'd necessarily be a bubble. I think you could see something like maybe regional sites, kind of like some like mostly quarantined regional sites, play for 2 weeks, then maybe take a week off, and then so players can go back to their families, and then. Teams could still practice at their home sites, but then you have another regional site after that week off, and if players test positive for COVID from a certain team, they're not able to go to that regional site. Like, you could see something like that. That's kind of like a loose idea. Like, there's many different ways. So, I don't know. Like, that's the thing. And they could, maybe if they did that, they could start the season a little earlier and kind of stretch it, Because that's the thing. Players aren't going to want to be in a bubble for, like, 2 months, 3 months at the start of next season again without seeing their families. You know what I mean? So, like, there's probably going to have to be a system that they sort out that works for the players, but also isn't a high-risk situation, so it'll be interesting to see what they come up with. And that's just assuming, there's not any real progress, which I am really hoping there is real progress. And at some point next year, we should hopefully be able to go to a Blazer game. That's my optimistic hope, I don't think it's unreasonable to think that there's a chance that happens.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I was stoked when they said they were changing the dates of the draft and the free agency.
Why?
Well, free agency stream was going to be on my son's birthday, so I was going
Hmm.
to have to make the tough decision not to be on the stream or whatever. So it kind of helps me personally not to
Yeah.
have to.
When did they postpone it to?
They haven't announced yet. They just said they're going to have to push it back. So yeah,
Yeah.
like everything's up in the air right now. But it also gives us more time to do like because we're kind of in a situation where we weren't going to have a lot of time to do like draft profiles and break
Hmm.
down the draft a lot on video and stuff versus just streams. And this gives us a little extra time to do all that and make it a little more organized and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. I actually like the added time. I'm down for it too. It's gonna suck like winter without basketball, but
Yeah.
oh well. We'll have football and then we'll have nothing in like December, January. We won't have baseball. We won't have basketball. We won't have, or we'll have playoffs, but like after football playoffs, if basketball doesn't start till March, we might not have anything in like you know the week before the Super Bowl and then the month after the Super Bowl. Like, could get kind of rough there, but I don't know. Like if I want them to have fans of the stand at some point next year. I'm hopeful for that. Delaying that makes that more likely. I would love to be able to safely go to a Blazer game again. That would be amazing. I'd love for the playoffs next year to be in packed stadiums. Obviously, you're not going to get that without some sort of insane miracle treatment or obviously a vaccine. But like, bro, like if they have to postpone the season so that the playoffs are in September, but that means fans can be in the stands because the playoffs are in September instead of June or July, hell yeah, I'm down for that. I'm down for that because that environment will feel new. Because this is what we've gotten used to, the bubble environment. Fans in the stands will feel new. So
Yeah, I'm just trying not to get my hopes up.
I don't think there's anything wrong with being cautiously optimistic. Which is what I'm doing. I'm being cautiously optimistic. I'm still being logical.
Yeah, but back like March, April, we'd have never thought we'd still be in such a bad position heading into September here.
Yeah, I mean, but back then I was saying, oh, hopefully start next season we can have fans in the stands. November, December. Now it's like, okay, hopefully in March, April. But we also know a lot more than we did back then. Like, we know a lot more about the situation than we did back then. So,
Hmm.
I think back then everybody was like, it was just all speculation and people didn't really know much. And now it's like, okay, we know what the world is dealing with for the most part.
That's a good point. You can just go on your private jet to the bubble. You could probably just pay them some millions of dollars to go be a fan there.
Yeah. But I don't know. I'm hoping. Just be optimistic. I haven't really been paying attention to like progress on a vaccine. I was like every day reading so much news about coronavirus. Now I've just kind of been like zoning it out and not paying much attention. So I don't know really what the status is on anything. But I'm hoping. I'm hoping, man, because that'd be huge for me. Like just to be able to go pass out business cards before a game, to
Mhm.
use to have my SeatGeek code back, that just stuff like that. And that's not even like being able to go to a game or having fans in the stands. That's like just business wise, it would be good for me. And as a fan, it would be good for me. I think the players would like that too. It's good for, I just want normalcy back. I want my rec league back.
Yeah, I want a ball.
Oh man, I was able to find a gym that they have two basketball courts. They only allow 5 people max on the 2 courts, like 5 people total. So yeah, I'm able to go there and play. There's nobody there, so I went and played there with my friend. Yeah, so able to play basketball again indoors, which was huge. I made my shot, bro. Is like it felt better actually. It was strange. I didn't feel
Nice.
rusty. It was almost like I've been gone so long that it felt like new again. Like all the bad habits I had, like relaxed on them.
I played catch with a football with my wife and daughter on the beach today,
Uh
and I was like joking that that's the most athletic thing I've done since March.
huh.
So
Joking.
I know, like like it felt weird, but I think that's true. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, I've like worked out a little bit at home and stuff, but
Yeah.
like nothing serious. Yeah.
Hey, but chat, I hit 3 out of 4 30-footers in a game of one-on-one. After not shooting indoors, like I shot outdoors a couple times, but it was windy. Wind kept blowing the ball all over the place, so like I wasn't hitting anything, and I couldn't even tell how good I would be shooting if there was a wind type of thing. So to be able to go indoors and actually like hit some threes, like I was hit 3 out of 4, deep threes felt good. I don't know. It's almost like I haven't played in so long that like my shot like doesn't feel like completely ingrained. So I'm able to like easily like, oh, I just need to fix this. I was like able to
Yeah.
easily like tweak my form in a good way, if that makes sense. So
Your muscle memory's gone, so it's like
it's still kind of there, but like I was just able to like I felt the ball better than before I stopped. So it was like, oh, I was able to correct what I was doing wrong, and yeah, it was nice. So. I'll videotape next time I'm in. I'll videotape. I'll post a Twitter clip or something. I'm gonna get a phone tripod, or like a phone and camera tripod. All right, P. What the hell are you talking about? This is Washington State or Oregon. We don't get it here. I guess a lot of centers Oregon.
2K Land says talk about the mock draft. I answered your question earlier in the stream. I don't know what you're saying about the mock. Like, what do you want us to talk about it?
He wants us to go through all 60 picks right now off the top of our head.
We will get into it. He's trying to become like a draft expert, I think. So he's really interested in
That's dope.
different opinions on it.
That's dope.
Didn't he change his screen name or his name on YouTube? NBA draft specialist. Hashtag Virus Dots is now his
Twitter.
his Twitter thing. Yeah.
But after the season, we'll have a draft. We'll have like streams where we focus on the draft and off season. We're not there yet. We got one more game tomorrow. It's probably our last game of the season. I'd be down to try and win it. It'd be awesome to win it without Dame. But then people be like, bro, Dame's holding that team back, type of crap. But, react to draft prospect highlights, that wouldn't be entertaining. We'll give our own thoughts on a prospect. Me and Eric were thinking about, like, doing, like, videos where we do a draft profile together. Or, like, I kind of go... would have some graphics and say, like, this was the player's stats last year. These are, based on scouting reports, these are some of his strengths, some of his weaknesses. This is, like, his NBA comparison and his, like, future projected role. And then me and Eric give, like, our own opinions, like, in our own, like, we have, like, a big board ranking for that prospect, and we'd say where they are on our current big board and say what we think of them. So... have like basically a little debate on players we don't really like at the end. That could be an interesting twist. You don't really see that with draft profile videos. So,
R.I.P. Blazers asks Alexei's Pokemon or Precious Achugum. Okay, dude. I'd probably take, assuming like I think I understand the question. I'd probably take Poku.
Yeah.
Just off of potential versus Precious, yeah.
Yup. 100%. Alright. So I know, we'll probably end up logging off here in a sec. And we'll have the post-game stream tomorrow, of course, and then if the Blazers lose tomorrow, what? During the offseason, I want to go back to Monday, Thursday. I think that worked well.
Mm-hmm.
Monday, Thursday streams, 9:45. If we lose tomorrow, do you still want to do like a Thursday stream? Because tomorrow's Wednesday. Do you still want to do like a Thursday stream and maybe like wrap up the season or something? I don't know.
I'm gonna be on a 50-50 on that. I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing Thursday night, so
Do you think I should do
I'll,
it? Chat, what
I'll
do you
still
think?
be here.
What do you think
Yeah.
about that? Thursday stream, win or lose? And we could get into like Thursday, Monday. Monday, Thursday. Chat's not even paying any attention to what I'm saying.
Marco said yeah. Scalabrini said yeah.
My chat's a little behind yours. Alright. If you guys want it, I will oblige. I don't know what the conversation going on in chat is, but
I'll just have to play it by ear like tonight.
yeah. I'll update your status on Twitter. Like it's like it's before a game.
Yep.
Eric Brandt vacation. I wish I could miss streams because of vacation or stream on vacation. That'd be dope. I need a vacation. You didn't take me with you. I hate you.
Our room's pretty small for us adding a sixth person to it.
You're supposed to buy me a whole separate room, man.
Okay.
We could be doing the stream in person
I'm
on
going
the beach
crazy.
or some shit.
I might buy myself an extra room to. No way. No, just kidding. They're fine.
That's harsh. That's brutal. Savage.
It's,
Here we thought we had chill Eric, and no, he's just throwing shots at his family.
Nah. It's. I can't imagine being like a little kid during this whole thing. Like, I feel so bad for my kids. Like, yeah, like they've basically been stuck at home for the last 5+ months. You know, like,
Yeah.
haven't really been able to go do a lot of fun kid stuff. So, it's yeah, it's just they were a little crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I can't really get too mad. I guess they were happy to be out of the house. Let's just say that.
Andre, we're not really focused on off-season content because it's not the off-season yet. So once it's the off-season for the Blazers, then we'll start focusing on off-season content.
And especially after they announce like what they're gonna do with the salary cap next year, because we still have no idea if they're gonna. Because the NFL kind of did a thing where this year it was going to stay the same, but the following like 3 or 4 years it could go way down, but it can't go below a certain number or something. But yeah, yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what the cap numbers. You and I being like cap guys, we're really interested in seeing what that.
Things.
Yeah.
Next post-game show off-season talk? What do you mean? The next post-game show will be the post-game show.
I think he's saying, you said you're not going to talk about the offseason until the offseason. He's saying we're going to lose tomorrow night, so it'll be the offseason on your next show.
Oh, yeah, but, I mean, I'll like, if that's the, last game of the season, we'll kind of wrap up the season with that stream. So, Tori, website update, please. I don't have a website update. I haven't heard from the guy in a while, but he's just busy, so I'm not worried about it. It's supposed to launch in about a month. Imagine the cap goes down and we have to trade CJ. That would not mean we have to trade CJ. R.I.P. man. We literally just cut Ariza or let Hassan Walker.
What's up, Mike Posner?
Posner, man. What's up?
Lil Bakel, yeah. Hopefully the young guys give us something to talk about. Like I posted on Twitter, Game 82, Ant. We need him.
Vivek,
where is that guy?
Vivek's trolling. Even though the season was the channel was a huge success. Yeah, I mean, I made it May 30th last year. It's August 25th. I don't even know why I pulled that up. The date's right there. But yeah, so that's 15 months. Yeah, I mean, the hiatus, this channel didn't grow at all, and we've grown a lot since we've come back. Sucks that the Blazers aren't going on a deeper run. We're close to 3,000 on the main channel. I will be so happy once we hit 3,000. We are like 40 subs short. So hopefully,
Log 40.
oh my god. Now all of a sudden I don't want 40 subs. But yeah, so I don't know. We'll see. There's a lot that I want to try and do in the next year, like beyond the channel and with the channel, and there's so much that I want to try and do. Like we haven't really done anything like fresh or new or special in the past 6 months, it feels like. Since New Year, when I got this computer, came out with new graphics. So I have some ideas for things that we could do next season. If next season is in February, we'll have a lot of time to prepare. But the streams in general will you'll see improvement over the off season streams and that type of stuff. I have ideas. Andre, I'm not doing that in here because I ain't by myself. The off season videos will probably get those subs up a lot. Yeah, hopefully off season content does get views, and since we're going to be streaming over on this channel, since we won't have any post game streams, the videos should do better on the main channel just because of the way YouTube works.
Mm-hmm.
Should I send it to the GC? Send what to the GC? I don't know what you're talking about.
He's talking to Trevin about Trevin. He said he was a draft specialist, and then Trevin said, if you were, give us every player's strengths and weaknesses right now. And then he said, I'll send it to the group chat, and Trevin's like, nope, you took too long.
Oh, this fan's trolling. Tori, for God's sake, expand on the NBA teams so you can make a bid and allow Eric to sell his biz and go full time with you. Hey, we're going to be grinding with that deal, man. I've been thinking about starting just a general NBA channel, and doing some draft profiles over there. I don't know. I have to figure out some sort of balance. Since we won't be doing streams, since I won't be watching games, I'll have more time to kind of throw towards something else, and hopefully I won't be working as much. So I'm just going to take all that time and kind of pour it into things. Hopefully I'll have, been trying to move out. It hasn't really worked, but hopefully I move out soon and we'll have my own studio, and it'll be more fun to just make videos because I'll have a dedicated studio and cool lighting and just better quality camera in the future, and just have a better setup, so it'd be more fun to make videos, that type of thing. Yeah, we got some ideas for off-season content. We're just not going to talk about it until the off-season. Don't move into an apartment, save your soul. Dion, that's why I haven't moved out yet, because I'm not trying to move into an apartment, bro. I'm trying to move into a nice 2-story house. Not nice, but I'm trying to move. I want a 2-story house. I want to be able to have upstairs be my room, and then one of the bedrooms be a studio room, and then if it's a 3-bedroom place, have a guest room. So I'm looking at renting something that's about $1,900 or so. So all my DoorDash work and that type of stuff has been kind of towards that. All the donations and stuff through the channel I'm gonna pour into my studio and just upgrading stuff with the channel. So, but that's the thing. I didn't take a day off until yesterday. I've taken 2 days off in a row. I didn't work today or yesterday. But until yesterday, I'd only taken 1 day off, and that was when I drove to the beach. So, yeah, it's been 1 day off in the past 2 months. So I've been working 60 hours a week. So it's grind. But
what's up, Denthird? Yeah, we talked about him a little bit at the beginning of the show, along with Dan Ring and Chad and all those guys. Yeah,
we talked about the whole clown gang.
Did you see Denthird getting into it with Eminem today?
No, what did he say? I'm blocked from Eminem, so
I don't.
That's weird.
Denthird said something he tried to make a point, I think, at first, and then he Eminem just came at him with something stupid back, and then so that Denther went back at him, calling him a clown and stuff. And did you get blocked too, Denther? I'm not blocked by Eminem.
Yeah, I'm not complaining about being blocked. That guy is toxic, so I don't mess with him. That's like the they switch the heads. That's funny. I'm sure I got blocked too. Probably. Should make a poll on how many of us are blocked by him. By Eminem or Dan Meringue?
He was doing it with Eminem, yeah.
I think Dan Meringue blocked more.
Oh. So Eminem had that. It said, like, I've seen a lot of Fire Terry hashtags over the last 24 hours. The thought from some is that coaching is why the Blazers are losing the playoffs. Some think it,
stupid thread.
some thinks it falls mainly on roster constructions. So we went through like every player that was on that team and how they sucked after they left the Blazers, apparently. But like, why even mention guys like Cliff Alexander? Like, it's not like they played. He didn't even play on this team. Like, I don't know. It's so dumb.
Yeah.
But then he like tagged Danny Meringue, and that's when Danny started doing that. So Dennis says that's why we don't run plays, have an offensive system, play bad lineups, play the wrong defensive schemes, and are generally poorly coached. Good to know. And then Eminem says, Dennis, I just emailed Neil your resume, waiting to hear back to see if you got the job. We'll let you know. So dumb.
That's corny.
And so Dennis said...
Dennis, that's when you just said, bro, you're corny.
Well, he responded twice to that. One says, noticing our team is extremely poorly coached doesn't mean any fan could do it better. You are a clown.
Applause.
And then he said, Eminem said, especially you, babe. I don't know what that means.
I told you that guy's a weirdo.
And then Dennis said, gross. But then Dennis again called him a clown. And then Eminem says, LOL, you don't need to be so sensitive, babe. Just chill.
That guy's a freaking weirdo.
I know.
That's weird. This type of guy who would like say something that would deserve him just getting punched right in the face in person. I feel like because he'd probably be trying to be all weird in person, and I don't know. Screw that guy. I don't like that guy at all. That guy's strange, man. Weirdo. Why are you calling random people on the internet babe? Like, what the? That's so weird. Anyway. I'm tired of thinking of freaking media and people on Twitter. This off season, I'm just not even going to like. I don't know. I don't want to freaking think about Danny Ego or Chad Doing or Evan M or any of those guys.
You know what's the funniest part about that? Is like Dan Meringue legitimately thinks like you need him to like succeed or something, right?
Yeah, that's what he said. He's told me that in the past. I'm like, bro, I ain't trying to go down your path, buddy. You're not that important. Nobody needs you, man. Like, I ain't gonna kiss up and lie and speak on some bullshit to try and get your job, bro. I'm a A, try and do something better. B, I have too much pride in actually, like, knowing what the hell I'm talking about to just spew off some BS so I can have a job. Like, nah, man. I hold myself to a higher standard that I'm not going to freaking sell out because that's basically what you've done, so screw off. Like, he sent me scathing DMs just out of the blue multiple times the past couple years. Like, a lot of you guys probably don't even know that. He sent me, like, scathing DMs. Just so, like, I don't even know, man. I don't even know. Like, bro, like, you guys, he sent me scathing DMs.
Oh, exposing the DMs.
I'm sure somebody could probably pause it. I can't go through it, but yeah. So, who a Discord peep in the past? I'm not gonna expose his DMs, man. It's not that deep. Like, whatever. But just so you guys know, he sent me scathing DMs all those times in the past. I have every reason to absolutely hate that guy, and I've still like tried to have a basketball conversation, tried to be, oh, everything's fine, like everything's cool, right? I've tried, and that guy just still talks shit and has this huge ego and tries to call us out on made up bullshit. Like, screw that guy. Like, I've tried, man. I've tried with that guy, and he's just been a complete asshole. Like, it's whatever. It's whatever. But he's that way. He's that way to like people who he doesn't know. He's that way to people who don't deserve it. To people who like, you know what I mean? Like, he's shown his colors, man. Like, I don't know. I don't have respect for just the way he acts. I don't. It's ridiculous.
Wait, who do you call Muffin? Who was that in chat earlier?
2K Land, Nas.
Oh yeah. We have 2K Land is Muffin, and now Dentherd is Babe. So, got a couple of new nicknames out of
I bet he watches the stream. I guarantee you he doesn't watch the stream.
Yeah, there's no way. He would never even consider that he would learn something.
Yeah. He thinks he knows it all already. He thinks he knows it all. He thinks he's smarter than Draymond Green. Like, bro, where the hell did you play, Dan Meringue? Like, I know you ain't ever been an athlete, man. I know you've never, like, he's maybe played middle school JV. That's maybe the extent of his basketball experience, bro. Not to talk down on people that don't have basketball experience. You can be basketball smart if you don't have basketball experience. But, like, bro, the people that, like... There's so much stuff you learn from, like, playing basketball that is really hard to learn elsewhere. So I just don't understand people like Danny Meringue, who like never played, who has the audacity to think he knows more about basketball than an NBA player. You know what I mean? Like, how clueless can you be, bro? Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Like, Meringue was an explosive athlete on the hardwood. It's more likely... I knew I was gonna say that. Never mind.
Yeah, see, I just don't like that because to me, that's kind of like the same thing people are doing to us with the, like, well, you're not an NBA coach, so you don't know. So I just don't like to go there.
Bro, we ain't never said we're smarter than Stotts. He basically said he's smarter than...
Right.
No, actually, I don't know, man. But that's the thing, is like... I don't know. It's different because it's Draymond. It's an opponent who game plans against us compared to, like... We're criticizing what Stotts does, and he's saying that a guy who has no reason to lie, who like plays against us and is breaking things down on TNT is lying. Like, I don't know. I think that's a little different. But also, we know what the hell we're talking about, so that's the difference. Paul George blamed his shitty play in the postseason this year on depression. If he was depressed, why was he talking so much shit to Dame about the postseason? Like, I don't know. I don't get that. I get that when people get depressed, they lash out and stuff, but, like, you can't... I don't know. You can't... Bro. The thing is, he has an excuse no matter what it is. His shoulder. He's icing his shoulder. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I believe him on that. But, I mean, maybe. But maybe he's depressed in the bubble. But, I don't know, man. He comes up with injury excuse after injury excuse. He basically explains away all his struggles. I'm not James Harden. Or, his injuries. Like, I feel like he just tries to explain away his poor play. Like, he will never admit, like, oh, yeah, You know, man, I just gotta play better. Like, that's all he has to say. I don't know. Eric, you're awfully quiet.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, mental health is a serious thing. I just hate when people seemingly try to use that as a reason for being like a crappy person.
Yeah.
Like Trevin said, that's exactly what Skip did too.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's
How's depression cause you to miss
like
shots?
I feel like people who aren't depressed. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying he is or he isn't, but I feel like there's too many people in society that'll just be like do something bad or do something wrong and just be like, well, I'm depressed. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, and
And
people can't say
it,
anything because it's mental health. Like,
yeah. So like, I hope that's not the case here. Um, well, actually, I do hope it's the case because then that means he doesn't have depression. But like, if he really does have depression, I don't want to like say too much about it because that's crappy. Um, but yeah, like you said, just don't be a jerk to other people. Then if you're depressed about yourself, like
depression
that's what
doesn't
I just don't
cause
get.
you to miss shots in basketball. Like, that's the thing is when people use depression for like as an excuse for something where it doesn't make sense that depression is an excuse. They're like using depression as an excuse for, oh, I'm playing bad in the playoffs because of it. Like, I guess, you know, your mental health can affect your play, but I don't know. It just seems with his history, if it was somebody else saying that, I'd be like, oh yeah, he's probably telling the truth. But with Paul George's history, is it's just like, man, it seems like he's just a guy who like tries to come up with excuses. So I don't know how I feel about that, man. It's just like, and he was being an asshole to Dame and laughing it up on the sideline, making fun of Dame, and I don't know, like being just a kind of a crummy person. Not cool, man. I mean, like, I don't know. I just for me personally is I'm not gonna use like I'm not depressed right now, but I have been this year for sure for stretches this year. I was never the type of like, oh, I'm gonna use that as an excuse for anything. Even if I was like in a bad mood, so I was more like feisty on Twitter. It was like, you know what, that's my actions. I gotta go up to it. I'm not gonna excuse it away by like me being depressed. You know what I mean? How many times do you ever hear me like use like, oh, I'm depressed as an excuse for me being like maybe a little harsh to someone? I might have like once, twice. I don't know. Like I don't think I did. You know, I always have the mindset of like I'm not going to use it as an excuse for my actions or you know I'm not gonna use it as a just as an excuse. I've just that's not I don't know. It's not how I. That's not how I just. That's not how I look at things. If that makes sense. So.
Hmm.
Like I had to put on for a stretch there. I had to try and put on a happy face for the stream when I was just depressed as hell and come through. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. It was fine. Like you know that's the thing is like being struggling and being depressed. It can lead to good things if you you know understand why you're depressed, understand what's making you depressed. It can be motivating for you to fix those things. You know what I mean? Like I turned it into something good. Like I motivated me to make life changes and. Instead of like using it as an excuse for struggling with certain things, I feel like, you know, not everybody can use it. You know, not it. People's minds work differently, so not anybody can look at it in a productive way. I don't know.
Yeah.
But just for me,
I just
I just always tried to turn it into something good, if that makes sense.
yeah. I just hate when a particular person always has an excuse and it's always after the fact. It's never
Mm-hmm.
like we talked about this with his injuries. The day before the playoffs, he's saying, "Oh, I'm the healthiest I've been in a long time. My shoulder feels great." Blah blah blah. Then he has a bad game, and all of a sudden he's got like 8 ice packs on his shoulder, and
Yeah.
and 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 then he's talking to Dame about how like injuries have been the reason why he sucked in the playoffs in the past, and now like I don't know. I just don't like when hearing about stuff after the fact. It just seems like excuses, like and it's weird because it's always coming from him. It's not like like the CJ thing where you come like CJ didn't tell anyone that he has a broken back for 5 days, and then we find out, oh, CJ's been struggling because he has a bad back or something, and like so that wasn't CJ like excusing it. He wasn't even telling anyone about it, right? So like, if anything, that's like the opposite of what Paul George is doing. So like,
Yeah.
uh, yeah,
Dionysus says, look at how K-Love handles his mental health. George needs to watch and learn. Yeah, like, K-Love doesn't use it as an excuse, but he was open with kind of his struggles with mental health to hopefully shed a little bit of a light on it in a productive way
yeah,
for people other than himself. So, like, I respect Kevin Love a lot for that, because somebody in the spotlight, like he is, it definitely would be tough to open up about mental health issues or something like that. But he did it in the right way. He did it in a good way. Hopefully, it was, beneficial to himself, because I know it was probably helped some other people out, out there to look up to Kevin
yeah.
Love and knowing that he's kind of going through the same thing, even though he's successful. Like, and people relate to that. And I don't know, like, a professional athlete shedding a light on mental health issues, I think, is important. You had DeMar DeRozan as well, who kind of did that as well, because it's not paid attention to enough. You know what I mean? It's not like something that's like hurting other people; it's hurting whoever's dealing with it. So it's not, and that's the thing. It's not like on the surface you don't see it with most people. So it's not like an obvious thing that people are dealing with. So that's why I feel like it doesn't get as much attention as it probably should. So having an athlete in the spotlight, large following, kind of shed a light on it, I think is important. So props to Kevin Love for the way he handled it.
Yeah, and I think obviously we have a huge mental health problem in this country right now, or have been for several years, and that's something that I wish was thought of more like, you know, like a broken arm, you can go to the doctor and get it fixed, but like so many people don't get their mental issues fixed in this country, and that leads to a lot of problems that we're seeing now as some of these people get older.
Yeah, so many people don't even know how to deal with them themselves. Like they haven't had
Right.
any sort of guidance, don't have any sort of, way that they know of to cope with it. They don't have any mental strategies, because it's not focused on.
Yeah, but like at the same time, I do feel like, um, and I don't know if Paul George is depressed or not. I'm not going to say for sure he's like this, but I know so many people who will like mess up or something, and then they're just like, "Well, I'm depressed." Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, no, you're not depressed, dude. You just like don't want to take
Yeah.
responsibility for you being a jerk or
They'll
like,
never like bring it up like, hey man, I've been struggling, or like, hey man, I've been dealing with this, or
mhm,
like that. It's always it's always as an excuse for something. Like it's always like,
yeah,
oh, this the reason I did that was because I'm depressed. It's never like they will go out and say it when it's not a reason for something. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
and that's the thing.
yeah,
Like either they think they can open up to you or not, right? If they think they can open up to you and they're depressed, I assume, if it's legit, they would talk to you in a way that makes sense. They would say, hey man, I'm struggling with this. If they don't feel like, you're the type of friend that they can open to, or you're just a guy you hang out with or whatever, then they would never say, hey man, I'm depressed. You know what I mean? They wouldn't use that as an excuse either
hmm
for stuff. So that's the thing. It's just like I don't understand people that will like use it as an excuse. I just don't think it's even if you are depressed or whatever, like the way you're handling that is not the right way to handle that. You can't just use it as a reason for you having bad actions or messing up, and that's the only time you bring it up, because that's just going to come across in a strange way to people. You know what I mean? Especially if people are like willing to help you with it, willing to be there for it. You're not doing yourself justice if that's like how you're handling it and that's how you're acting about it.
hmm
So anyway, we got deep late night, past midnight. It passed midnight, and we got deep. But Dionysus says, I don't know if you want me to read it, Dionysus, but it sucks when people don't know how to handle that stuff. Um, I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely something in this country. We definitely have other issues too that we gotta fix. And I mean, it's something that we can focus on alongside some of the other issues. But I'm hoping, in the next decade, it comes more to the forefront and becomes more of a priority just for politicians and just the country in general. Thing is, it might not be in, I'm not going to get into politics, but it might not be in a politician's best interest to make America happier and make America, I don't know, to help America with their mental health. Some politicians kind of prey off that sometimes, but yeah, so I don't know. Because a lot of the problems go into just education about it. It goes into resources for people who may be struggling with it, with mental health. It goes into stuff that is controlled by people. In some instances, it's controlled by the government. It's a very vague way to put it, but yeah. So that's the thing. It just needs to be more of a focus. So I respect a guy like Kevin Love coming out about it. I don't respect an athlete in a position that, oh man, I'm just depressed. Like, that's why I've been playing bad. I've just been depressed. Like, you should know better than even if you are depressed, you should know better than to like present it in that manner. So I'm not saying he isn't depressed. I'm just saying the way he presented it, just as kind of an excuse, is not the right way to go about it. If he is depressed, he could use it in a positive way that could help other people. And he's choosing not to do that. He's choosing to use that as an
It's
excuse.
like, you remember earlier in the bubble when the Lakers were struggling and LeBron was like, there's just something going on with this team you guys don't know about. And then he was asked about it later by Chris Haynes, and he's like, oh, it had nothing to do with the team. It's like, well, what were you talking about then? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, that's what it kind of feels like to me. Like, it's just like you're just trying to like say something to get some pressure off of you or something. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
Trevin, I found part of the tweet that I was talking about with the Dan Meringue. He said Detective Trevin's been trying to find it. Someone tweeted, Draymond tweeting about the actual game and on action is some breath of fresh air. That shouldn't be the case. And then Dan Meringue said the answer should never be more Draymond Green. And some people like kind of went at him.
Yeah.
This guy said, yeah, we'd all rather hear Danny Meringue break down basketball, not one of the smartest players in NBA history, LOL.
Marcus Morris stepping on Luka Doncic injured ankle. Did you see that?
I did. It looks really bad, just the little clip when it's cut out. But if you watch after the little clip, like,
I don't think it was on purpose.
Marcus Morris is a dirty player, but like I don't think he did it on purpose. He was like he immediately was like trying to grab him.
I think, yeah.
He was trying to help him get his shoe back, and yeah, stuff like that happens. It's not.
Yeah, I mean, when you run up to a guy on an inbounds, you're gonna stop kind of behind him, present some pressure. Maybe like 3/4 him, whatever, like on their back. Like you're gonna slow down, like close to him. You know what I mean? So that might happen. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't think that was on purpose. I just saw that clip. I'm hungry. I want some like Red Robin, but it's closed. Okay, what is your favorite restaurant?
Probably B-Dubs.
B-Dubs? Yeah, B-Dubs is fire, man. Because of the sports or the food too?
No, the food. I love boneless wings.
Oh,
and there's so many options there too. Like, so even if you've gone there a lot, like you still can get like a different flavor or something. And yeah.
Dude, I'm so hungry right now. I want Red Robin. Yeah, I want Red Robin. I love Red Robin.
Alvaro, yeah, Porzingis has a sore knee. Yeah.
Are there any good food places open 24 hours in Portland, chat? Or Eric?
Well, there's all those
Like
rules about restaurants being closed by
oh
10.
yeah. I
There,
was thinking
I
like
mean,
like
there's
something
like
like
fast,
yeah, but like we
there's
only
like,
have fast food. The only fast food here is like McDonald's and Taco Bell. So do you have other
yeah.
places or?
I mean, there's like Jack in the Box but I know a lot of those places that even if they were open 24 hours before are not right now.
Oh, I need food, but I don't want McDonald's and I don't want Taco Bell. I don't know what to do.
What about Del Taco?
They're not open 24 hours here.
Oh, they're not?
No, I wish that would be, bro. Del Taco right now would be awesome, but yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if like Sherry's and IHOP is open. I know their delivery stops at 11 p.m., but I'm not sure if they stay open at night. Wingstop is nice. Dairy Queen.
Denther just asked you if you use Postmates. Bro.
Postmates.
He works for DoorDash. He's not gonna
What?
That's so.
Oh, I am a DoorDash guy. My phone said I'm a DoorDash guy through and through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I need to
I ordered DoorDash today. I ordered donuts. So I already ate the maple with the bacon. That's what I was eating on stream. Honestly, the rest of these don't even look that good. But that's good. It's good crispiness. In the middle is fluffy. I like it. What's nice is it does in late night restaurants. There's no restaurants in Vancouver here that are like open. Some in Vancouver. I don't think they will deliver from Portland to Vancouver. I'll bring you Taco Bell if you give me a Blazers Uprise sweatshirt.
He just said he doesn't want Taco Bell though.
Yeah,
so you're gonna have to.
And
come
if I
up
have
with
to pay
something
for the
better than
Taco Bell, that would cost me more than if I just DoorDashed it right now. You are a dentist's dream. What are you talking about? Move out of the sticks, bro. If the part I'm in, the part I live in, should be considered part of Vancouver. If it was, we would be the second biggest city in Washington. But people love to hate on us, Eric.
Mm-hmm.
You hater.
That's me.
You're just trying to take my pride and stomp on it.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, yeah. What is that voice?
I mean, last stream I told you that it was.
I'm joking.
I'm proud of you, dude. I'm proud of you.
I'm joking.
You love your Vancouver.
Joking.
I haven't met a lot of people like that.
Joking.
All right, yeah.
Tell me this doesn't look nice though, chat. That's what our waterfront's gonna look like. That's nice. That's my town. That's my place. Let's go. I'm hyped. Bro, they announced that they were gonna do this like 15 years ago, so I'm kinda hyped that it's actually happening. Actually, that's not even like the full scale plan, that's what they got now. Where's the full scale plan? I want the full scale plan. Anyway.
Tori, I'm going to get my body right and in shape. Literally the next day, Tori, I'm going to buy a box of donuts.
I worked out today, though. It's going to be a work in progress. I have to learn how to cook, which means I have to move out. So until I move out, it's kind of like, okay, I'll work out and I'll keep eating the way I'm eating. And then once I move out, I'm going to learn how to cook and actually eat healthy and actually have like my own stuff, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
People... Uh-huh. Yeah, that was so sarcastic. That was so sarcastic, man. You look tired. You need to go to bed.
Yeah, I need to go.
Yep. You get super quiet and like monotone.
Yeah, just gotta go deal with some stuff too.
What's that?
Some kids that need to go to bed.
Oh yeah, they still up?
Well, my oldest is, and my middle one is.
Got you.
But yeah, I'm probably gonna get up early, so I should
Well, we'll
go
see you
to
guys
bed.
tomorrow after we lose by 40, probably. Watch it be competitive, though. That would be such the Blazery thing without Dame to just randomly be competitive and, like, run some good sets for once when it's too late, basically. I don't know. We'll see. Thank God Dame isn't hurt, bro. That was such a huge sigh of relief.
And then there's man, I'm gonna hate Twitter if we win that game. Oh, so you guys don't even need Dame. Dame's a scrub. Blah blah blah.
Yeah. I hear a lot of giggling there. Hear a lot of background giggling.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was such a sigh of relief though. When I saw sprayed knee, it was like, thank God. Thank God. He'll miss game 5. Like, I don't care. I knew he was gonna miss game 5. At least he won't miss next year.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, dude. Like, I was so nervous. Like, he was like, there was a report like he's getting the MRI right now. I'm like, oh my God, I can't do anything until I find out.
For those asking, so Chris Haynes said that like this isn't something he'd be fine for Game 6 for either. Like, so even if we win, he's probably out for the rest of the bubble, no matter how far we went. Even if we have a miracle comeback, so don't expect Dame to be back this season.
Bro.
But it's as good of news as you could have hoped for. Like, I mean, the only better news could have been is if he woke up today and like had no pain and the MRI was completely clean. But I'll take a sprain over anything else any day.
Yeah, that wasn't gonna happen. When you're still getting the MRI today, they said like, okay, he's still something obviously wrong. So
yeah, yep.
Sprained knee. I'll take it. We have next year to look forward to. Because next year would have been ruined. Like all our post game shows next year would be like, well, Anthony looked pretty solid in this game. Like, we lost by 20 again, but, you know, CJ looks, I mean, I don't know, like, he still doesn't pass the ball. Like, I don't know, it would have just been, like, at that point, like, what can we really say? Like, at that point, that's a rebuilding year, so we can't even really criticize Stoss, because, like, okay, let's try and just get the most out of our young talent. Let's try and see how Ant looks, you know, like, try and develop him. Which is, we've said, Stotts is a good development coach, so then it wouldn't even be like Stotts' critique if we were like tanking, rebuilding. Like, well, we're already 20 and 40, so I hope we kind of lose, actually, so Stotts is actually doing a good job. But, anyway. I'll catch you guys later. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. You going to be on that stream, Eric, or what's the plan with you?
We'll see.
Eric Brandt is questionable for the next stream.
Yep.
I'm going to finish this donut. And I'm going to see you guys later, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll see how that game goes. So, anyway, I'm out.
Night, everyone.
Peace. Out.